Hi everyone, it's Jen on the go. Welcome back to this channel. I'm so happy you are here. It's been a bumpy 2 weeks for me as an Instacart shopper. I made a couple pretty big mistakes that I honestly shouldn't have made, but I did. I wasn't paying attention, I wasn't focused, and this is what happens when we lose focus. But I'm owning these mistakes and I'm not going to sugarcoat them. So if you're interested in hearing what these mistakes were, keep watching. This is today's video topic. Stay with me. A little story time. Okay, let's go. A little backstory. In September of 2020, I was on my way to the grocery store. I accepted a batch that I ended up having to cancel because I thought I was having a flat tire. Wasn't a flat tire, but still better safe than sorry. Wasn't too worried because that put me at 1% cancellation rate, and I knew it would fall off after 100 batches, but the problem is it never did. It stayed well after the 100 batches. I contacted chat support, and because I keep track of how many batches I do, and I said this should have fallen off, and after multiple times of contacting them, it still was not falling off, and it finally did mid-January. And by the way, you do want to keep your cancellation rate as low as possible because there are situations and circumstances that are out of shoppers' control, but they are still getting cancellation rates, and it's happened to me twice. So because of unforeseen things that could happen, you want to keep that low, because if you do have a 15% cancellation rate, your account could be, and probably most likely will be, deactivated. So you want to keep that as low as possible. But the very same day that I woke up to that cancellation rate finally being wiped out to a zero, I accepted a batch for $68, and I hadn't seen a batch that big in a long time, so I was excited. In the process, I took a phone call from a friend. I did not navigate to the store because I knew exactly where I was going, so I could talk to my friend the whole time, no problem. I knew I would have about 10 minutes to talk to her. I hung up from her, I get into the store, I start shopping, and then immediately I notice the first 3 items have Stop and Shop brands on them, but I'm in the big Y. And I said, that's weird. So item not available. And then I went to the next item, which is the replacement, and that one would scan in. And of course I had to show her the replacements, and she said, no problem. It wasn't until the 10th item that I started scanning. I was actually looking for, I went up to the grocery store employee and I said, can you please tell me where this brand of coffee is? It says Stop and Shop. And she said, yeah, I can tell you where that is. That's across the street at the Stop and Shop. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. I was in the wrong flippin' store. I wasn't paying attention. I was on the phone, let my guard down, and that's the thing. You can't let your guard down. You have to be on stage, focused the whole time, and that was totally my fault. Anyway, I said, you got to be kidding me. So I contacted the customer right away, and I said, hi, I made a big mistake. I should be across the street shopping for you at Stop and Shop, but I am at the big Y, so I'm going to put my cart away, and then I'm going to go over to the Stop and Shop and start shopping for you over there. And she said, oh, no, please, that's not necessary. We go to Big Y too. I'm fine with it. Just go ahead and get me the replacements that are the Big Y brands. I'm like, okay, no problem. But of course I contacted chat support to make sure that that would be okay. And the chat support person stated, you're in the wrong store. And I said, I'm not only in the wrong store, I'm in the wrong chain of the store. Like, these are 2 different companies. I said, so it's one thing to be at the wrong location, but I was actually at a wrong store. And he said, oh no, that's no problem. He said, are the replacements scanning in? And I said, they are. He said, then you won't have a problem. Because I said to this chat support person, I said, the customer would prefer I stay here now. And I said, what if I get to the checkout and I have an issue with the payment and it's declined? And he said, it probably will be declined. He said, but the minute it's declined, you contact us and we will push it through right away. You will not have a problem, yada, yada. Have a blessed day. Is there anything else I can help you with? I said, no, I'm good. I got to shop. I got to focus. So I contacted the customer again. I said, we're all good. I'm going to go ahead and show you the replacements, what's available. An hour and a half later, because that's how long it took, because I had to take pictures of all of the things that she didn't have replacements for and say, will this work? Will this work? You guys know. And she approved everything, but we went back and forth quite a bit. I get to the register, and I knew the card would decline, but I wasn't worried because the chat support person, and I saved all the screenshots, said I won't have a problem. I just need to contact them. So, of course, there's a huge line behind me. And I said to the cashier, this is going to decline, but then I'm going to contact support and they're going to run it through. So she's like, okay, It declined. I contacted support, and he said, I explained to him what happened. You have to type it, and you're in a hurry, and there's a line behind me, and I'm getting dirty looks, and I'm nervous. And he said, can I put you on hold for one moment? And I'm like, yeah, but I have a line behind me. Can you just get this to run through, please? And he said, just bear with me. Give me some moments, please. And I did, and I was kind. And you guys know you have to be kind to chat support because their hands are tied. He came back and said, unfortunately, this transaction will not go through, and I need to cancel the batch. And I said, what do you mean? The person before that said this is okay. And I sent him the screenshot of that person approving it. And he said he shouldn't have told you that. There's no use in arguing. I made the mistake. I'm not going to take it out on anyone. It was my fault for not paying attention and focusing like I should have. So back to a 1% cancellation rate I go, wasted a whole hour and 45 minutes at this point, and then I lost the money. However, they did pay me the $15 for the batch payment amount because most of the order was from the tip. So I was kind of bummed about that because I should have been paying attention. And then, yeah, it just all went downhill from there. So yeah, I was really mad at myself. I made a dumb mistake. I should have been focusing. I didn't focus, and this is what happens when I don't focus. I should have given this my all, and I didn't. You would have thought I would have noticed the Stop and Shop logo, the brands popping up because it's clearly a different color palette even, and I didn't. I wasn't paying attention, and because of that, I kept self-sabotaging myself all week. And when you self-sabotage, you prevent yourself from other great things happening. And I literally couldn't make any money because I just put a mind block up. And I decided that as my punishment, I'm not going to make money. And I know it's crazy, but that's just how the mind works. Your energy goes where your focus goes, where your attention goes. I was putting all my attention on that mistake, and therefore it was taking all my energy. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, that was mistake number one. Here's the second mistake. This past Monday, I took my first batch payment, which was $44. And of that $44, $30 of that was the customer tip. These are the customers that I definitely want to service. It was generous, and I was grateful to start my morning out like that. No problem. I get to the store. Everything was fine. It was an easy shop, a couple replacements. She was communicative, a dream customer, A to Z. I dropped off her groceries, and she lived up on this tall hill, and as I was dropping them off, she was at the door wanting to chit-chat, and I chit-chatted right back with her, was commenting on her landscaping and that she was on a hill and who mows her grass, and then we started chatting, and we actually developed like a little relationship, if you will. I was treating her like a client that was important, but I really was curious about her landscaping, so we really were having a great conversation in between trips from my trunk to her porch. We would chat for a second. So finally, I took my last load up, and we talked for another couple minutes, and then I left, and I just shut my trunk. And then I got into my car, and I went and sat in the parking lot, and I waited for my next batch to come in, which it did about 30 minutes later, because I'm very selective, and I will sit and wait rather than take a batch that doesn't have value. So I took that batch, and when I took that batch, got to the store, that was also easy. I opened my trunk, and I'm like, oh no, there's a bag of groceries there. You guys, I left one of her bags of groceries in my trunk. It had 7 items in it. Oh my gosh, my heart sunk, and I panicked. I'm not kidding, because I'm like, oh my gosh, because I clearly didn't deliver this bag of groceries. What is going to happen? Am I going to get deactivated? All the things go through your mind because we're paranoid. Mistakes happen though, and no one's above making a mistake if you are a human being. So I needed to take a deep breath and understand this is just a mistake. So I thought for a minute, oh my gosh, should I take the groceries back to her house? No, it's been well over an hour now. There's no way that she wouldn't have reported these as not there. Plus, we're not supposed to go back to the customer's house without permission from chat support. I don't think anyway. So I contacted chat support, and I explained to them what happened. I just noticed a bag of groceries in my trunk that weren't delivered to the customer. I made a mistake. This is on me. I feel so bad. Can I please take these back to the customer's house? Chat support person was very nice, and he said, absolutely not. This customer already reported these items were missing. So I said, what do I do now? I said, can I still take the items back to her? Because even though they're missing, I had a bond with her, and I felt so bad because she probably thinks, what an idiot. And that's not what happened, actually. So he said, no, you don't need to take the groceries back. We've already refunded her on those items, but just go ahead and donate those items or keep the items yourself. So I felt bad. You guys, I just felt so bad because I'm like, I don't do these kind of things. This is another dumb mistake where I wasn't thinking. I should have known better. I knew there was another bag in the trunk when I was delivering her last 2 sodas or whatever they were, and I just wasn't thinking, and I got in the car and I pulled away. So I did say to him at the time, did she by chance leave me a rating? I'm expecting to definitely get a 1-star. And he said, no, you haven't been rated yet. And I kept checking that day to see if my tip was reduced, and my tip was not reduced. I also asked the chat support person, I said, how in trouble am I? Just be honest, I can take it. This is my fault. And he kind of laughed and he's like, you're not in trouble, don't worry. But he's like, you don't want this to happen again. I'm like, oh, yikes. Okay, then I am kind of in trouble. He assured me that nothing was going to happen to my account, but you never know, you guys. So that was a huge mistake. So all night I had a knot in my stomach. I did end up doing 2 more batches after that because I'm like, I cannot let my focus be where my energy is. And I was putting all my energy into that. So I had to shift quickly and I was going to take the 1-star hit, and I was going to take the tip being reduced because these were like, her stuff. And one of them was like an organic, expensive juice, but she did get refunded, but still I felt bad. And at the end of the night, I checked my tip amount and it was still preserved at that $30 mark. It was not tainted, it was not touched. I contacted chat support that night at about 10 or 11 because I knew I needed to know if I was rated yet. And I said, did by chance I get a rating yet from this customer? And I told him who the customer was, and he said, no rating at all. You're still at a 5-star. So you guys, I dodged a bullet. And I know that my tip is fine because it was Monday and they have 3 days to take their tip, and I still could wake up one of these days with a 1-star or even a 4-star, but it hasn't happened yet. It doesn't mean it won't, but it hasn't happened yet. So that happened, and that was just a lesson that I got lucky with. I should have been dinged for that, and I wasn't. And I truly believe there is a viewer on this channel. Her name is Courtney Lee that I'm going to talk about yet again. She is often commenting on a lot of the videos on this channel. And one thing I appreciate about Courtney is her consistent message to all of us to help us, to the shoppers, stating, when possible, select your batches based on the tip amount. And you guys might say that this isn't the case, but it is absolutely true. The customers that tip generously or tip you your worth are going to be the customers less likely to leave you a less than 5-star rating, even when things aren't perfect. And this is a classic example of me working with a customer that tipped me generously, and even though I made a mistake, she didn't take it out on me and punish me for that mistake that I made. So I really appreciated that. And Courtney, thank you so much for always stating and staying true to your message, because your message to us shoppers, I'm listening, I hear you, I'm doing it, and I hope other shoppers are doing this as well. It does require more patience and more sitting and waiting, but it is, with how the ratings are, we are playing Russian roulette every day with the ratings with these customers. So it is in your best interest to choose your batches based on these tips, because again, these are the customers who will be more lenient with you. And yes, I know there's an exception to every rule, and there's the tip baiting thing, but regarding ratings and the generous tippers, it seems to be less than an issue. Moving forward though, instead of beating myself up and self-sabotaging myself and just killing myself for mistakes that are inevitable in making, whether you're working at a regular job or in the gig economy, we can't stop life and mistakes from happening. They do. We just have to learn from them and own the mistakes so then I can own the fix. And that's what I'm doing, because I didn't mention this. The very next day, after I had the missing bag, the bag of groceries, I'm embarrassed to say, I went to my trunk the next day and I found a bag of potatoes. I wish I were kidding, and I'm not, so it happened back to back. Now in this situation, I didn't do anything because the item was not reported as missing, and my rating is still intact, and that was also a high tipper, and the tip wasn't reduced. So I didn't want to contact chat support again, honestly, to put myself at risk. And I'm just being completely transparent and open, and I'm keeping it real because this is me. So I made a lot of mistakes because I wasn't focusing. That's all going to change though. And it did start changing this week when I decided to start honing in and doing the thing, paying attention to what I'm doing. But yeah, that happened again. So that was twice that I just was, I don't know what happened. Like what happened? But again, I can pick myself apart, or I can say, you know what? You owned it. Now you have to fix it. You got lucky. You're still at a 5-star rating, but I'm not going to let this happen again. So one of the things I'm doing to change this is to stay completely focused. So if I'm going to do 3 batches and I need to stay, do them perfectly, I'm going to dedicate 3 hours of my time, 3 or 4 hours, whatever it takes, and focus on the batches and nothing else. I'm not going to take interference phone calls. I'm going to do what's right and really pay attention. It's not going to happen again. I'm not going to leave somebody's item in my car one more time. I created a Post-it note similar to this that I have. This is just a copy, but I literally taped one neon sign bigger than this on my dashboard so I can see it every time I get back into the car. And yesterday, I had to look at this pink sign every time I did a batch, and sure enough, even though I knew there was nothing in my trunk, I stopped the car, I got out, and I looked in my trunk before I pulled away. This is helping me. So yeah, I just have to do better, and again, not beat myself up over all of my mistakes. So hopefully you learned from my mistakes, and you'll just focus when you're shopping and pay attention and definitely understand what store you're shopping in, right? Remember, your energy goes where your attention goes. So make sure you are putting your energy into the fixes and not the problems. No more self-sabotaging. I did it too often for these past 2 weeks, and I'm not doing it anymore. I'm just focusing on what I can do to make sure these mistakes don't happen again. And I hope you guys are doing the same thing. In case no one has told you, I'm telling you right now, I think you guys are absolutely incredible. You are awesome. Don't let anyone tell you that you are not. I appreciate all of you being here, for taking the time to subscribe to this channel, for liking these videos, for sharing them, and most importantly, for your engagement, for your comments, because I truly love hearing what you guys have to say, and I do respond back to each and every one of you. So that is it for today. I will see you guys this Sunday for another content video. I hope everyone has a great finish to your week. You're staying strong, you're making your goals, you're hitting your goals, and if you're not beating yourself up. That's it. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Love you.